What's up guys, and welcome back to the infamous project. It is part 2 of Brian's 1988 GT that you can see sitting here behind me. I was trying to get everything wrapped up into one video, but you know what? It probably would have ended up being an hour and a half long. So probably left stuff off after we got some trim redone and reinstalled. And while there was still a lot more stuff to do, which I'm going to be sharing on today's episode, everything which includes doing a nasty set of door pins on this passenger side door, which really sucked. Getting the door moldings back on. We're gonna be doing a final detail, 5.0 emblem placement, getting the headlights back in, and just the kind of final wrap up stuff so you can see the final unveiling of this 88 GT, so stick around. Cervini bumper coming off again, and the reason for that, I was trying to do the final mounting, and if you guys look, see that little piece right here? That was getting bound up against here and not allowing this gap to close properly. So I'm just going to get the Dremel in there and get that hacked off. All right guys, so here we are. I was playing, well not playing, I was testing the door lock actuators because I had shown you guys earlier in this video on how you can change the actuator without having to worry about this rivet here. And here we go, I've just pulled that guy out because this is the 6th set of LMR door lock actuators that I swear suck. Like, I don't know what it is. Like that thing, I can't even pull it open. Like I know they're supposed to do a weird spinny thing, but look at this one from Dorman I just got from O'Reilly's. Like this thing is ready to actuate. So same thing, I'm just going to pull this bracket off because we can reuse the factory bracket that's in there. Look at that. No problem. I kid you not, LMR, I've got probably 4. In fact, I'm probably just going to send back like all 6. I'm sorry guys, I don't know who you're using to provide these things, bad batch, call it what you will. I swear to you, this wouldn't even move the rod. And now, you guys saw it. You saw me trying to pull this thing out and it won't do anything. So there you have it. Sorry guys, but gotta go with what works. Dorman for the win. Now that those door lock actuators are done, I can get the door panels on, cross that off the list. Get on to the door pins, which I'm not looking forward to, but hey, it is what it is. All right, guys, I'm calling it a night. These door pins, man, I tell you. And now to try and get the door aligned. These pins were a bear. If you guys would have seen what I had to go through, clearly I had to take the whole door off just so I could get the proper leverage, and got a Dremel tool and cut and pounded. And yeah, you can see all the remnants here of everything, but I got it changed. I got it done. I got to get home and record the podcast with Castle Customs. So I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to step away from the situation, come back tomorrow, and I'll get the final little alignments done on this door. So stay tuned, guys. Everything isn't always quick and easy, although the headlights went in without too many headaches, so that was nice, and it's looking good. And man, I'll get that door sorted. But there you go. It's not always blue skies and roses and peachy and all those interesting terminologies. You can tell I'm a little tired. So on my way home, we'll pick up tomorrow and wrap this thing up. I'm not going to talk too much about this one. If you guys follow my channel, you know that I am adamant of always reinstalling your door moldings after paint. And sometimes I go to urethane. In this case, there was already 3M adhesive tape on the back side of the moldings. They were ready to go out of the box, so to speak. So I got some of this 3M automotive adhesion promoter that comes with it. So you want to make sure that that surface is as clean. And you want to make sure it's not too hot outside and then it's not too cold outside. In fact, it'll tell you to do this between 60 and 80 degrees. And it's probably maybe 82 or so in the shop right now. All right, so the first thing I did is I washed this down with soap and water. You know, I made sure that it was absolutely clean, even though that it is clean being a fresh paint job, but you want to get any of the dust and everything else off. Just rub the adhesion promoter on there. You actually feel it on your fingers after. It's a little sticky. All right, so you want to make sure your front and back side are super clean. And I actually recommend that you let these sit out in the sun in a flat surface, and just kind of, it'll help with them to be able to flex. Because again, when we do the whole fold technique, it's just easier that way to be able to roll it if it's more flexible. So you see I took the top tape off, the bottom one, I'm just going to start like that. And you can see there's this ridge here that goes in the groove, but really eyeballing it up is probably the best way to get your molding exactly where you want it. So you just kind of want to, there we go. What I do is I kind of push from the back and work my way forward like this. Push it all the way forward. Again, you want to focus on getting the whole top portion stuck. So even if you got to kind of pull out on the bottom and roll it up first, it's fine. You know, don't be afraid to put some pressure on there. All right. And then I know Tom, aka War Admiral, he'll appreciate this video. He's kind of stuck. He wants to put his door moldings on his coupe. He's so afraid about them not sticking correctly or having problems of them pulling away in the future. I told him to urethane them on there, but I don't think he wanted to commit in that way. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm kind of pushing down on the tape in this top groove. Rate is a 90. And that's making sure that it's stuck right against the body on the top side there. And then what you do is you pull the tape on the bottom like that. So you can see the molding's kind of sitting straight, right? And then there, start kind of in the middle. Just kind of roll it down like this. Work your way towards the front. Roll it down. Same thing, lots of pressure. And there we are, the molding is on. Again, you can see tape up here to keep that surface flat and pulled. Tucked right into the groove here. Make sure that's holding it right against the body, or right against the door, top and bottom. And wrapped here to make sure, you know what I'm even gonna do? Gonna go extreme. You really want to make sure that these corners are well taken care of. There we go. Moldings are on. Just gotta wait for the tint lady to show up so she can get the window tint done. And after that, gotta put the 5.0 emblems on. I need to jack the car up and get the inner fenders put back in there. But other than that, this thing is good for a final detail and presentation to the owner. So stay tuned. So it's time to put the 5.0 emblems on the fenders. And number 2 pet peeve, maybe actually number 1 pet peeve, even more so than not putting door moldings back on, is the placement of your 5.0 emblem. So here's a little trick on how to get pretty much perfect placement on your 5.0 emblem. 1.5 inch tape, all right? See where this line intersects that corner right there? Put a piece of tape starting right there vertically like this. That's gonna mark how far over the 5.0 emblem needs to be from the inside part of the fender. Then take your tape and set it right on top of the body molding and place it horizontally like that. And that's gonna give you your distance that you need to be from the top side of the molding. Stick the emblem on and you're done. All right. Show you guys this in real time. Piece of tape. Here's our corner. Another piece of tape, top of the molding. Make sure you curl it down. There you go. There's your horizontal. Pop out your emblem, make sure your surface is clean. Don't commit till after you remove the tape and physically inspect. Make sure everything looks level. Boom. It's on. What more could you ask for? Perfect 5.0 emblem placement in a matter of minutes. Both sides. There's your trick. 1.5 inch tape. Boom. Boom. And you're done. All right, guys, so here we are. Brian's GT is up in the air and just finished buttoning up a few little maintenance items. Put new sway bar end length bushings in there because the ones were pretty much non-existent that were in his car. So got those swapped out and also welded in a set of Maximum Motorsport subframe connectors, the full length style that have the cross tracks that bolt into your rear seat bolts. So got that all buttoned up. All right, so I just got Brian's GT up on the lift here and you'd see a change of scenery at the house. And I've got a lift. 2 new additions, which are pretty much life-changing in terms of a shop and or garage, is to have a lift and to have better lighting. So Great additions here. They'll be perfect for trying to hang these Flowmaster exhaust tips so we can finish off the look with the Cobra rear bumper on this car. And I'm super excited. I have to give a shout out to Jerry, who actually gave me this lift. Of course, I had to get it taken down and moved over here. And Jerry is the one who owns the 93 hatchback and the project title of the Coyote swap I said I would never do. Well, that's Jerry. He had it at his place. It's an older US made lift. It's symmetrical, which is awesome. So I can go forward, I can go backwards on it, and I couldn't be more thankful. So thank you again, Jerry, for hooking me up with that. And we're gonna put it to work today. So let's see. I'm hoping, honestly, I cringe even when stuff is supposed to be like bolt on and like pre-bent and supposed to work. I always feel like it's a pain in the ass. So fingers crossed, getting these exhaust tips on here isn't gonna be that big of a deal. Nothing too crazy. The tips are Flowmaster's pre-fabricated, ready to go stuff. And you know, we got a Flowmaster, what would be a cat back here, some 2 chambers. He had some turn downs on here with clamps, so these might need to be opened up a little bit just to be able to get the pipe to slide in there. But other than that, we should be in pretty good shape. So let's get things maneuvered in there, twist the tailpipes up into place, and see what we're working with. Sounds good. Now it looks as good as it sounds. So we'll do a cinematic here of the final reveal of Brian's 1988 GT. We'll shut the car off and then we'll go over the finer little details explaining the complete overhaul on the body and paint on this guy. Thing that I'm not 100% on still are the chrome 93 Cobra reps that he's got on the car. I think if he went to a silver wheel, things would look a little bit better. In fact, I've got a set of 4-bolt ROH ZS wheels. Do I have some with tires on them? I do have some with tires on them. He's got the wheel lock in his car, which I'm sure he does because obviously I had the wheels off for paint. Maybe we'll do a little swapperoo here. We'll see how it looks with ROHs on one side and then the Cobras on the other. And then you guys can help decide and give your feedback. We'll see if we can convince Brian that maybe he needs a different set of wheels for this. I think ultimately the ZS are going to look better, but I think the ZR6s, just the more square, sharper edges, are going to complement the body lines of the GT that much more. So before we do that, let's go over the car. You can see now it's all back together. The trim is all back on. We got new headlights. And if you guys watched the first video or saw some pictures on Instagram, you would have known the bumper actually got sprayed and there was still holes for the license plate in the front. And it was a little bit of an oversight, and it happens. Pretty sure we had the conversation And it was just one of those things. Red Dog went ahead and painted the car as he should have, got the car back, and Brian was like, man, do you think there's some plugs or something we can put in the holes for the plate? And I was like, yeah, when I was putting your car back together, I noticed you didn't have a front tag. And did we talk about that? He's like, I thought we did, but I'm not 100% sure. And the worst part was there was actually 3 holes on his front bumper. So there was a hole on one side and then there was 2 on the other. And that's because the factory plate holder, the holes aren't in line with that of an actual license plate. So what happens is someone will take the plate holder off and then they're gonna go to mount a normal license plate on. They're gonna line up one hole and then they're gonna be like, oh, the other hole doesn't line up. Well, let's just drill another hole. So he actually had 3 holes. And I said, Brian, don't even sweat it. You know, you've invested this much money into hopefully never having to paint this car again. We'll get you taken care of. So the nice thing about the GT bumper is that this molding goes all the way across. It doesn't, you know, stop here and stop there like the LX does, and then you got to deal with just the center section. So Red Dog got to be pretty creative, and he managed to blend in the center section after the fact and resprayed the section accordingly, and now no more license plate holes, and yeah, it looks nice and clean now. So really happy with that, Brian. I hope you're happy with it. And all the trim came out awesome. I did put his windshield wipers back on because they were in the car, and well, you know, some people do like to have their wipers on, so they are on there. See, all the trim came out perfect. Brand new old stock NPD hatch quarter glass. These don't exist anymore. He bought them back, I think, in 2005. So man, do they ever look good on a freshly painted car. And that is why you want to take these windows out when you guys do a paint job. You know, all this trim came off, and at the end, when you see there's no tape lines or anything here, like that just makes everything look that much better. Now you can see we got the Cobra rear bumper on here. That is a Cervini's piece, and went ahead and got some tailpipes installed yesterday just to finish off the look of the car, because you know, you wouldn't want to not have tailpipes when you got a little bit more booty showing from the back with the angle that that Cobra rear goes on. You see all the skirts went on nice. We used all of the proper hardware, actually changed some hardware, put brand new, where's the easiest place to show you, black headed screws, so that way we don't get corrosion on there. He opted for the black 5.0 emblems, which are in their correct position. The door moldings are back on, and on these guys I did go ahead and use the tape that comes pre-installed on them. So far so good. Otherwise, Cervini cowl hood, that was already on the car. We did add the Cervini Cobra grill insert, so got that going for it, and everything got done on this. If you guys remember, the car was black, so all the jams have got done. I need to wipe these all down just because the car obviously did get a wash this morning and a detail before the video. All the interiors back together. Now the next part is probably one part that I encourage the most, especially when you're doing a color change. A lot of people want to opt just to do a black engine bay. Yes, Jerry, I'm talking to you right now. But this car had a black engine bay. It was originally, so if we remember, this car was a factory color similar to this one. Obviously this is the newer J7 magnetic gray, and the car had got painted black, and they oversprayed in the engine bay trying to get black in there. And Brian was like, man, no, I don't care about the engine bay. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry, but how could you not care about an engine bay that potentially looks this good? And Brian's got this beautiful polished up GT40 tubular intake. It's got some aftermarket valve covers. You know, this is a healthy motor. Again, I'm not 100% sure what's all done. It's got some Edelbrock aluminum heads on there. I know there's a cam. I believe it's a 306. I'm not 100% sure, but it's stout. It runs good, whatever the tuning is. Idle's perfect. And why wouldn't you want to pop the hood? So we went ahead and painted the engine bay to match. And you guessed it, guys, the motor stayed in the car. And you guys can check out my other video on how to successfully paint your engine bay. And this applies even if you drop your car off to a painter. Should be able to pull everything off, tuck it all over the motor, and be able to spray all of the areas that you're going to see. Now this all looks factory in here, which is absolutely beautiful versus just having a black engine bay. So again, guys, can't stress enough, if you can paint your bay, put in a little bit of extra time and get it to match the rest of the car. You can see we painted on the underside of the hood and everything else. So there you have it. That's pretty much the overview of Brian's GT. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I am going to go see if I can go swap these wheels and tires out, but I really just wanted to stress on some of those key areas so that way you can get an idea that how I personally would do a car. If somebody brings me a car and they want body and paint, this is the approach. This is how I would handle it. This is what you could expect to get back. And some of you guys are going to ask, what is the cost of doing something like this? So Brian's car was pretty much rust-free, and it did have a couple gremlins from prior paint jobs and everything else, which we can expect. So there were a few areas to fix. Had to install the Cervini Cobra bumper cover. Had to do some alignment, had to do some door pins, had to pull all the trim, redo all the trim. So you can expect something like this to be over $10,000. Yep, I said it. If somebody thinks that they're going to be able to get all this work done for less, they're either not making any money this day and age, or it's a gift. Take it and run. But I really don't think you're going to be getting the gift, because you're going to get what you pay for, and especially by doing the bay and everything else, you're going to be somewhere on the low side, $10,000, $15,000, probably a good rough estimate of where you would be to get something done like this. And if you wanted to go even further than that, maybe you're doing some of the underside, maybe you're doing a shaved engine bay, any of those things, you could be potentially upwards of $20,000. So the only thing you got left now, Brian, is to tackle that interior. It's all there. It's all original. His seats are actually in really good shape, just that it happens to be that smoke gray that's notorious for changing like 3 different shades. So I know Brian wants to tackle that next, and man, that's just going to finish this car off. Like, the interior looks good. I'm not, you know, trying to make it seem worse than it really is. It just needs to freshen up. You know, it could have torn seats, it could have a red seat. He does have a gangster lean. I know he's going to get that addressed. But other than that, this car is looking and sounding the part. So with that said, I think I'm going to go grab the jack and grab 2 ZS wheels. Let's put 2 wheels on this side and see what it looks like. There we go. Quick little wheel and tire change. I've just put 2 lug nuts on there just to give us the illusion of what the car could look like. And I'm tossed. It looks dramatically different. That's for sure. That's the neatest thing about wheels and tires. They can make or break the way a car looks. And funny enough, I had a set of these that went on my white Dutch coupe, and it had a gunmetal center with the polished lips, and now those wheels have white centers, painted body color to match. And I'm wondering if that darker gray that was on there would have actually looked really good with this car. That's a big question. I do feel like the car, probably just because I just put it down, I should drive it a little bit, it'll probably settle down. But I don't know. I think the ZR6s would be the way to go ultimately. The Chrome Cobras don't look that bad, considering, you know, he's got black emblems with the black trim and the smoked headlights and all of those things. And, you know, the chrome, it just don't get you home. I'm just not a fan of chrome wheels these days. I don't know what to say. So I'm going to leave this here. This video is probably long enough now. I want to thank you guys again for all your support. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little 2-part series on Brian's 88 GT. And I'm really, really happy with the way that this car turned out. I guess I should have stressed that earlier. I am genuinely really impressed with the way that everything came together. There was a couple headaches along the way, the bumper having to get resprayed, the door pins, a couple things, the Cervini bumper coming off a couple times. Sometimes just not that easy to slap something back together, and you don't want to just slap it back together. These aren't just, you know, $5,000 cars anymore. This car has got a serious facelift, and I wouldn't be surprised if Brian's going to start getting offers on it at every single gas station he stops at. So really happy with this one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, as I said before. And until next time, we'll see you here on the Infamous Project.